And what an assist that is from a bird.
Oh! That is beyond special. Absolutely incredible.
I can't lie, he's a quacking little player. Shut up, Steve, man, I swear. Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and you are watching FTW. This of course is the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, the Queen celebrated her Platinum Jubilee, and it saw celebrations across the UK, mostly for some extra days off work realistically. But it did also bring out some interesting characters.
How long are you planning to be here?
Till Sunday.
That's a long time to be camping on the pavement.
But the Queen's worth it.
Oh, right.
Honestly, I only thought people like this were creatable on a Nintendo Wii. The Queen unfortunately fell ill on one of the days, so was replaced by a hologram. You're clapping at a projector screen, lads. She's an interactive whiteboard. It was great to see the parties and all that, though, in fairness, and provided some jokes moments as well. Hey, listen, little man, I can't lie. Van Dijk's a little bit overrated. Shut your mouth this very second. One of the princes looks like he's about to make a 78th minute game-changing substitution here. Now, let's get into the football and... Spain's Gerard Pique and world-renowned pop star Shakira have announced their split after reports of the Barcelona centre-back cheating. Now, this is a huge story for the world of football and music, so I thought I would travel to Barcelona to get to the bottom of all of this.
Joined here today live. Gerard, if you'd like to speak to his backstory and the allegations. Silence is deafening.
The hips haven't lied, but Gerard clearly has.
You just knew that was going to happen.
Hey, these lot have been together for time, you know. How are you gonna fumble Shakira, the Spanish Cups, and the Europa League? And he didn't even get to the point of a semi that time. A little while ago, during Barcelona's upturn in form, he tweeted, "We are back." Yeah, mate, on Tinder. It's an outrageous situation and an outrageous story. Made even more so by rumours that the mystery woman is in fact Barcelona teammate Gavi's mum. What in the name is this?
I am your father.
And just in time for the announcement of weddings being hosted at Barca Stadium, the Nou Camp. Thibaut Courtois was saving them last week. Gavi's ending them this week. You got to imagine that he's vexed with this situation, especially after Gerard came into training describing the ordeal the night before.
I had one bent over the table here.
That anger leaked out onto the pitch versus the Czech Republic for Spain. Bro, all I did was ask how your family are. Are you mad? These poor kids come out of triple science traumatized me.
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood.
Here we've got him prepping in front of the mirror to scrap PK, knowing full well that he's only 12 years old. There's some positives here though, maybe. There's the fact that he's gonna get royalties to Waka Waka now, until realizing that PK's gotta keep clapping his mum. Obviously, it's not actually Gavi's mum, just to clarify the situation. But it does now at least explain Shakira's allegiances. Over to international duty and for England. Nah, listen, forget this episode, man.
Whoever's involved in this, stop it.
England started their UEFA Nations League campaign with a shock 1-0 loss to Hungary. Right, come on, go get Mings. I say shock, we were absolutely atrocious here. A horrible performance overall, even though the penalty to win the game was a little bit soft. It's yet another example of Gareth Southgate going overly cautious again against the side we should be taking the initiative with. He's not cooking, lads. The stove's not on. Gas prices are high, the oven needs seeing to... The food's cold. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't wait to see his next interview after managing to play 12 defensive players in game week 3.
I am a record man.
This game was actually supposed to be played behind closed doors after incidents of racism amongst Hungarian fans, only for 40,000 Hungarian children to go anyway. FIFA are really cracking down on that old topic, am I right? That's not behind closed doors, that's just behind small doors, mate. And those same children then went on to boo England for taking the knee at the start of the game. Marcus Rashford must have felt betrayed seeing hungry children giving him stick. To be honest, England could play the children in the crowd and Gareth's still playing 5 at the back. Just to say again, we were actually terrible. Shouts to Jared Bowen though, one of only few players that can hold their head up high, and what a rise for him since the non-league days. Hungary was still good though, and they were actually top of the group after game week 1, for God's sake. It's alright though, we're just getting all these losses out of the way now so that football can come home. And it wasn't much better performance-wise in the second Nations League game, but but at least we grabbed a late point in a 1-1 draw v Germany. Tammy Abraham was struggling before kickoff had even happened. We got scenes of Jude Bellingham now seeing Jamal Musiala playing for Germany.
Fucking
Hey, yo, don't let him do that.
I've been there for you since day one.
And we'd go behind after a lackluster first half thanks to Jonas Hoffman. Jordan Pickford could have done better if he had a larger wingspan than a wood pigeon. After controversy for not singing the national anthem, Trent was gutted at going behind, till he realised these scouts are not English. But that wouldn't last, as into the final 10 minutes, Harry Kane converted a penalty to level it, even though he was literally offside in the build-up. Was the VAR official a hologram as well? Your video assistant referee for today. Patriotism. This realistically is the only way to get through watching an England performance. But think about the positives though, lads. We're still in the top 4. On a level, I think we could find a way to qualify for the Conference League out of this group. Elsewhere in the 2022 Finalissima, Argentina eased to more silverware with a 3-0 win over Italy. In a mini-tournament hosted between the Copa America winners and Euros winners, it was the South American team that was victorious here, in a month where Kylian Mbappe called South American football underdeveloped compared to Europe. Something that's aged very well in the past 2 weeks. Brazil's Neymar wasn't impressed though, comparing their celebrations to as if they'd won the World Cup. I mean, I dread to think what his celebrations would be if they won the World Cup. Listen, bro, I don't care. If England win anything whatsoever, I'm topless in the street. The last time we won anything, people were putting diesel into horses and riding them to their destination. If you wanted to switch a light on in your house, you needed to build a fire first. Argentina players actually celebrated as if they were fans in the crowd, each of them getting pictures as if they're little Leo fanboys. And it was no surprise really, the Italians couldn't even get near him. Wow. Meanwhile in the dressing room, and to make sure he wasn't too left out, they had Sergio Aguero on FaceTime. Though with his knowledge of footballers, he probably wasn't able to identify anybody else in the dressing room. Flip it, is that Andres Iniesta? As for Italy, this is the curse of England, mate. As soon as you play us, you become terrible. It might not be coming home, but you're going home. Not going home though are Wales, as they qualified for their first World Cup since the 50s with a win over Ukraine in a European playoff. Ukraine beat Scotland to get here, but people suggested letting them win. Ukrainian war ends. Obviously, I guess it would have been some kind of small escape, realistically. But unfortunately for the Ukrainian national team, the dream is over. For Wales, though, and Dan James, please, bro, get a trim before the tournament starts. Gareth Bale is going to be playing at a World Cup whilst fully contracted to the PGA Tour. Meanwhile, it'll mark the return of some dumb Welsh starting 11 pictures. I'm expecting him to take it to a whole new level this time around. I want the front row of the picture in the car park. South Korea faced off against Brazil and lost this week. But Gabriel Jesus had other things on his mind. Man's parting the brown seas mid-game, you know. Joachim Love was probably watching this somewhere on TV and seeing something very familiar. And staying on the Brazilian theme, pictures emerged of Vinicius Jr. and Richarlison appearing to scrap in training this week. Casemiro was walking into the complex wondering how he hadn't got involved. But it was all actually fake and it was them play fighting, as you can see by this video. Vinicius also claimed that his role model this week is Neymar. Oh, for crying out loud. Over at Denmark versus Austria though now, and we find one of the worst pitches in football history. How does this even happen? Did the groundsman fall asleep on the lawnmower? And pre-game, there was even a power cut in the stadium too. Thankfully, the fans in the ground managed to keep themselves entertained. In Croatia, and it seems as though their supporters haven't forgotten about Antoine Griezmann's World Cup antics with this sign about the forward. Graham Souness was on Sky talking about being Scotland captain back in the day and thought the crowd were cheering him because of it.
Every single game.
Only to realise they were actually cheering the Scottish players coming out and warming up. Chile faced off against South Korea as well this week. And Heung-min Son is such a nice man that he managed to break up a fight between 2 Chilean teammates. He's a better man than me, I can't lie. I would have been making the situation a lot worse. He called out your mum. If that was me, personally, I wouldn't have it. My mum again, are you mad? Erling Haaland scored a brace against Sweden, getting ready to score 26 versus Burton Albion in the Carabao Cup. And he's already banging out the Manchester tunes. Meanwhile, in Canada, and their players are refusing to play due to compensation issues, aka the players aren't getting paid enough by the FA. Kickoff at the World Cup in Qatar is going to be looking a whole lot like this. Hello? Yeah, Alfonso, so basically we've got a friendly coming up that we need you to play. Oh, yeah. That's mad, you know. I've just, my girlfriend, we don't even have a girlfriend anymore. Yeah, me and my girlfriend, we're going through a tunnel right now. I think I'm In a friendly between Argentina and Estonia, Lionel Messi scored 5 goals in this one, and yet still wasn't voted man of the match by the public.
Is the strongest.
Now we take a break from our current billing to have a look at our goals of the week this time around, and we've got some extremely obscure places that these are coming from. First of all, over in Australia's under-23s campaign, and Scorpions might be a part of their wildlife, but now they're a part of their goal-scoring ability too. Meanwhile, over in the Caribbean, and Bermudan footballer Leverock scored an absolutely unbelievable bicycle kick against Guyana.
Sent back in, bicycle in! Incredible! What a finish from Dante Leverock!
Now, after Champions League victory, and Instagram was comparing Karim Benzema's 5 Champions Leagues to Kylian Mbappe's 5 Farmers League Ligue 1s, and Real Madrid right back Dani Carvajal clearly backed the message. It's a shithousery award for young Daniel. And over at PSG, it could be all changed there, with Jose Mourinho linked as their new boss. Mate, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Jose Mourinho plus all the egos in that PSG changing room. Neymar's gonna have a disciplinary before he's even arrived. The bar is so low for actual desire at this club that Jose will be celebrating all the players even coming into training together. And there's a power struggle with Kylian Mbappe after his latest contract. We've got him reacting to Kylian wanting him out after 3 games.
I'm not feeling the pressure, no. You cannot put pressure on me. No chance.
But you know he'll continue to chat shit, so Jose's gonna have to take matters into his own hands. So obviously I'm a big man in these streets, so like as manager
Fuck off.
Jurgen Klopp isn't letting the Champions League final get him down after being out raving this weekend. A private but verified Twitter account for Erik ten Hag was found this week. He's ready to slander that squad behind closed doors. Meanwhile, on loan Atleti midfielder Saul Niguez confirmed that he's leaving Chelsea this summer. Bro, I can't lie. You didn't have to confirm anything. We knew that. We've got live scenes here of Bayern's African representative trying to convince Sadio Mane to join the club for £150,000, 4 bitcoins and a cheese string. Meanwhile, Fabrizio Romano was violating people for no reason on Twitter, confirming there is definitely a better chance of West Ham signing Naif Aguerd than Richard here having a threesome. It's a shithousery award for Here We Go Limited. The Premier League have confirmed that one individual in charge of running illegal streaming websites has been jailed for multiple years and fined £1 million. Maybe if the prices of watching the Prem in England weren't so high, there wouldn't be illegal streams. But it's calm, because football's for the fans, innit? So what are you in here for? I single-handedly broke and entered into 11 different houses before robbing the owners of everything they have, and then cold-heartedly and mercilessly squeezing the life out of every single inhabitant. What about you, son? Yeah, so, flipping... Basic, did you see Everton v Fulham on the weekend by any chance? We've got the continued developments of Michael Owen's daughter on Love Island, who at age 19 is seeing someone age 27 in the villa. Yeah, look, listen, Michael, you had the right idea with this tweet. This can't run. She's basically dating Graziano Pele. You can't do that. This man's got a mortgage. Your dad had 6 hamstring injuries by that time in his life. Mark Goldbridge got into an altercation with Thibaut Courtois on Twitter this week when referring to David De Gea not being called up for the Spanish national team due to his poor aerial ability and distribution. He said that Courtois had similar attributes and still was successful in the Champions League, to which the man himself replied with multiple images of him plucking the ball out of the air. This man's literally on his honeymoon and cannot allow himself to be compared to David De Gea on Twitter. Meanwhile, on the very same site, there's an outstanding thread of a man who's depicted Alan Saint-Maximin as different coloured vibrators, to which the Newcastle winger saw and suggested that he provides entertainment both on and off the pitch. I think we might have to wrap up this series, honestly. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. Oh, well, I'm glad I managed to get that passed away without any further repercussion. And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Closer to home, and Grimsby earned promotion to League 2 with a National League playoff win over Solihull Moors. The latter did actually take the lead in this one through Kyle Hudlin, who brought out the robot celebration. It's just not a fully fledged robot, it's more of a calculator, really. But Grimsby did go on to win, and one of their players shared some interesting pictures online. Clearly, the club as a whole, not the only thing that's going up. In Brazil, and one pitch experienced some very heavy rain before kickoff, and it made for some interesting highlights. In Turkey, and one wildfire 5 side shot ended up going through a family of 4's window. Right, that looks like we're done. That should be sorted, but the forgot not again. In the Netherlands though now, and in the second division, they're trialing some new football rules. They're taking effect for the 22-23 season and include throw-ins becoming kick-ins, 5-minute sin bins for yellow cards, unlimited substitutions, and players being able to dribble from free kicks. It just is a new sport at that point, lads. So I say. In Brazil, and we've got a stretcher that they've somehow managed to make into a Formula 1 car. In Japan now, and we've got a bad day at the office for this goalkeeper. In Brazil, and one club by the name of Náutico got to their most recent league game ready to get underway, except they weren't quite ready because they forgot all of their kits at home. So the opposition went out onto the pitch with no one to play, the game was delayed, and the kit men had to travel back to their own stadium to pick up everything they needed. In Italy and at Roma, we've got the Antonio Conte from Wish here. In Argentina, and one man by the name of Nicolas Alonso is making a splash for his celebrations, and it's because of how unique they are, including running into an ambulance and climbing and falling out of a tree. Celebrations elsewhere, however, not always as polished. Iceland's under-21 side went mental this week, winning 9-0 against Liechtenstein. Just make sure Gylfi Sigurdsson's nowhere near the team, because obviously, meanwhile over at Palmeiras, and one player was not ready to back out of an aerial challenge, even if it meant serious casualties. That's gotta be offside, at least. Now though, time for the moment you've all been waiting for.
Okay. Now!
Over in Romania this week, and we've got a bit of a joint story that involves Romania, because one man by the name of Baltazar Pire has managed to get relegated 3 times this season alone. That's because he played for Boulogne, who got relegated bottom of the National League in France, USBCO's reserve squad, who got relegated from National 3, and then for Dinamo Bucharest, who got relegated from the Romanian top tier. Moral of the story, do not sign this man. In Guadeloupe, and we've got a very unfortunate bounce of the turf that catches out this goalkeeper here. One club called Andradina lost 7-1 this week over in South America. I mean, you know, it's a bit of a battering, but, you know, it happens. Except for the fact there was some very, very suspicious things happening during the goals, especially from this man here, who can be seen not only running away from the ball for one of the goals, but actively attempting to backheel it into his own net during one of the opposition's other chances in the game. Now, I understand that Lesotho and Comoros aren't the greatest nations usually for footballing ability, but this commentator seemed a little bit too impressed by the skill going on there.
Oui! Ah oui, mon petit! Mon
Back in the Brazilian lower leagues now, and one of the worst refereeing decisions of all time, as this forward literally miskicks the ball, but it's deemed to be a foul on him and a penalty is given. Someone VAR'd this from Mariano right now, mate, because he was robbed. In Tanzania, and you guessed it, it's yet another goalkeeping howler this episode. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, now it's time for still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is the segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. And this week, we've got some absolutely genius defending. Because when you're dealing with a set piece and you tell someone to get on the post, now you can mean it quite literally.
For me, he's the best player in the world, and by a distance.
On to the weird stuff though now. In Bangladesh now, and one news publication accidentally posted a picture of Dustin and Lucas from Stranger Things as a picture to represent Samuel Umtiti and Antoine Griezmann when they were children. A student from Cambridge managed to get himself as the bookie's favourite to take over as Notts County manager, despite having no footballing experience whatsoever. Omelu Benun's friends managed to contact Betfictor and convince them that he was a promising manager coming from the Swedish 4th division that, despite only being 21 years old, had now got a serious chance of taking over the Magpies. And finally, in South Africa, 2 clubs have been banned from South African football for life after being involved in a game that ended 59-1. The losing side scored 41 own goals in a blatant example of match fixing, despite only having 7 players, and 1 player who got sent off in the first half somehow managed to score in the second half. Don't know who was refereeing that one, but they need to have a look at themselves as well. That though is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at the official FNG on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.